So iPencil, a great essay from the 50s. I've been seeing a lot of articles written on it recently, and I wanted to give my take on how I feel it's a fantastic essay that very succinctly provides a perspective on just how little we actually need the state. To sum up iPencil, it purposefully uses a pencil as an example, as pencils are generally viewed as extremely simple and abundant. But it is pointed out that the production of the pencil is anything but simple. No single human being on the face of the earth can create a pencil. In order to do so, one would need to know how to harvest and process the cedar, mine and process the graphite, mine all the different raw materials and process them to create the ferrule that holds the pencil and the eraser together. And speaking of the eraser, you'd need to be able to harvest the plants in the tropical areas of the world that provide the necessary ingredients to create the rubber for the eraser. Or you will need to know how to create synthetic rubber from styrene, butadiene, petroleum, and ethylbenzene, and most of these things require large amounts of tools and capital goods and lab equipment, so you would also need to be well versed in the creation of complex machinery that run off of electricity or a combustion engine, and this web of skills and knowledge you will find will quickly go beyond the capability of any human being. And, let's not forget, in order to do all of these things, you would need to perform these processes across the globe with people who speak different languages and have different cultures. Needless to say, it is an impossible task. However, it gets done, and what we think of as simple pencils are actually created in astounding abundance despite the complexity of their production. So much so that we think nothing of throwing a pencil away if we don't merely like the feel of it. That's how trivial we treat pencils. Now, the important thing that iPencil brings up is that all of this is done without someone in the government dictating where resources should go, who should do what, when they should do it, what quantities they need to be dealing with, and who works with who, and how do they go about getting these things done. This complex web of voluntary human interaction creates products that would otherwise be impossible, and we see extreme abundance emerging not from an overpowered and over-supervising government. In fact, we see this abundance come about in spite of the state. We see products come into existence without a government mastermind. I think this speaks to the fear that people always vocalize that without government, how would we have X, Y, or Z? I would say take a look around you. With the exception of public utilities and infrastructure, which are rife with faults, by the way, but with the exception of these things, the amazing goods that surround you had no mastermind dictating every iota of every production process behind them. The production of your television set, your keyboard and mouse, the window you stare out of, the speakers or headphones you might be listening to this on, none of these things had a government mastermind at the helm of their creation. And the moment you put into power anyone who thinks they can command the creation of these products in a top-down dominating way, well, that is when the complex web of voluntary human interaction becomes inflexible and brittle, and it will shatter. And lastly, I want to point something out. As I said, the pencil is used to illustrate this because of how simple it seemingly is. And if some government bureau of pencil production was ever created, that is when you can start saying goodbye to the abundance of pencils. So why then, if the government would not be able to handle something so seemingly simple as pencil production, why would we trust it to take on productive pursuits involving anything even remotely more complex? That is a bad idea, and I would urge anyone and everyone who has not already to go read iPencil. It's a relatively short essay that has the capability of giving a great new perspective on the economy and the production of things. But anyway, please like and subscribe if you now appreciate pencils even more, and I also apologize for this video just being a bunch of images of pencils. That's kind of weird. But anyway, see you later.